Mr.
Good.
Chris Cueira.
Hello, hello.
Hola.
I was having Din.
Yeah, this guy.
Mm-mm-mm.
Karen Holman in New Zealand. Are you excited, young lady?
Yes, very, very exciting news for all of us.
I've seen all the pictures you're posting of the new entrepreneurs finally in New Zealand.
Yeah, so good. We've waited a long time, so we're really happy. Everyone's really excited.
See,
Karen's more excited
every
of sharing a room with me.
Yeah, that too.
Now that was really excited. Yeah.
Oh, it's the New Zealand way. We're just a little bit, you know.
So we'll be getting started here in a minute or so. I doubt it very seriously that Ricky will be on due to the fact that he is buying a truck. And I doubt he'll be able to get on the call while he's trying to fill out paperwork.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He posted he was looking for a truck.
Yeah, he's getting an F-250.
An
He's getting a man truck.
Oh, someone is pulling a boat in the future.
I think that's the goal.
That's the goal, because if he get an F-250, that's to pull a boat.
So, okay. Let me
text Robin.
Judy.
Let me text Robin where she's at.
Judy. All right. Guys, we're going to have Judy Willitson on the call tonight. So, we had a small group of leaders earlier today on the phone, and we were talking about some different strategies of some things we're also seeing other leaders do from a perspective of events, like having like a sneak peek event. And we got definitely, some interesting feedback. And the interesting thing is that everyone in this business is all at a different place at a different time, right? So a brand new person, it's a little bit different than when you might have been involved for, a little bit of time, just based on when you are knocking out, exposing all of your contacts brand new versus, dripping and following up and all that. Yet at the same time, the activity never really changes. And yes, there are multiple different ways that you could do things. There's a whole bunch of different strategies. We got a lot of different feedback, which was great. And, as Sean McLean was saying, is that, Sean, why don't you say it? Because I'm going to try to say what you were saying about the buffet and not get it across the same way.
So yeah, guys, I was just sharing that. All the ideas I thought awesome. I think they're wonderful, and there was an array of people that were sharing. So I just really think that, you know, it's kind of like laying out a buffet. We have different options, and each person can pick what they want to eat, whatever applies to their team at the time. Right now, that doesn't necessarily need a shot in the arm of, you know, an extra 100 people to try to lead and coach. And then we've got people who tapered off a little bit, and they need that shot, and they need an extra 100 people in their business, right? And I just think that the tools we have available, the things that we were talking about creating and what we're doing, is an awesome buffet. And then, you know, so we can maybe have a handful of them things and just choose, you know, what works for each person's business.
So, you know, this is what I believe. We have the people that are incredible at doing more of the old school belly to belly, talking to people. We have people that are great on social media, attraction marketing. We have people that are incredible at you know, adding people to groups in the group pages and following that system. We have some people that are literally picking up the phone and talking to people. Imagine that. So we have a whole bunch of different ways to go about doing it. And we never want to like tell people, oh, this is the only way. But we also never want to get away from what the system is, what the language is, and what's going to basically duplicate for everyone, right? And I was talking to Enrique after the call, as well as I've talked to Sean and Kim after the call. I talked to a bunch of people after the call. And it was funny talking to Enrique, just his perspective of it. And by the way, he wasn't absolutely opposed to what we were talking on the launch strategy, but he had a very unique perspective on it. And I wanted him to share that with us tonight because it made a lot of sense as well. So over to you, buddy.
Yeah. And what I'm going to talk about is what Ricky has instilled in our team from day one. You never want to leave phase one activity, which is consistently sampling and, you know, getting your product in as many hands as you can. And if you do that, your business will never slow down. So that's the mindset. I know once we get, you know, to a certain level, it might happen where you're in management mode and you're not sending out those 100 samples a month like you were when you first launched your business. And, you know, over time, that will slow your business down. But if you continue to sample just like you did your first month in the business because you needed to accelerate your business to get to a certain income, and if you stayed in that mindset, your business would never slow down. And guess what? Your team would be duplicating exactly what the leader is doing. So every day, Nancy and I are at the post office. No lie, we're sending out, you know, 15, 20 samples a day sometimes, some days a little bit less, but we're always in that mode. Hey, we want our business to grow this month. We're going to go out and sample as many people as we can. And we preach the same to our team. So for those of you who are kind of at a standstill in your business, haven't really seen much growth, maybe going back a little bit, remember what you did to when you first started to grow your business, right? Go back to those activities and re-engage in that and teach your team to do the same. Anything else you want me to touch on?
I mean, if you think of something, you're more than welcome to jump in at any time. I was hoping Judy was going to get on here because we were also, you know, we were talking and many of the, let's just call it the core of leaders that started right in the first, let's just call it month or two. There was a group of us that were like the first people that went to the home office, right? It was like 5 or 6 of us, and many of us have been communicating lately. And what we recognize is that core group of people, a few of us, minus Robin per se, because Robin is a very level personality that never makes you feel a certain way, that we have extremely aggressive personalities. My wife would say intense. I see Sean McLean shaking his head over there because he's just like that. Mike Massini is just like that. Ricky is just like that. And many times, you know, you have myself, and Sean talks a lot. You have a lot of the same people that will throw input out there. And what we recognized is that we'll ask people to jump in and share input and give their you know, feedback and all that. And what happens is a lot of people are intimidated. And you know, I'll say it for Ricky. He was planning on being on here and sharing it, but you know, last week he got a little excited when we were talking about the comp plan and all that, and Francisco asked the question, and the way that he answered the question came across extremely aggressive, and he definitely didn't want to do that. So what we wanted to do, and now I'm trying to message Judy to have her jump on here, we really want more participation from mainly ladies. Not that guys don't have great value, but let's count the people that are on here right now, right? And if we look at it from the big screen perspective where, you know, it's showing all the faces, there are way more ladies on here than dudes. So why in the world is it mainly a couple of us guys that are throwing out stuff? And it can quite possibly be that because of our personalities, we can come across bossy or aggressive or intimidating, or, you know, however you want to say it. And guys, we are absolutely, and we really had some incredible conversations over the last few days where different ladies gave us feedback, right? And shared with us certain things that might have been blind spots for us to, you know, bring this thing to the next level. We have to try to cover all the blind spots, right? Well, we can't cover blind spots and be better versions of ourselves and work on ourselves if people don't feel comfortable enough to tell us. So what I want to share with you guys is that if ever any of you all, and I know that Ricky's not on here right now, but I said this on a call earlier, so I have absolute permission that you have also permission to talk to him the same way I'm going to talk, is if you ever feel uncomfortable in the way that we come across, we want you to, not, you know, you have permission to, we want you to share your feelings with us. From, hey, when you did ABC or said ABC, it made me feel like this, or my experience of what happened was ABC, which is a very non-confrontational way to say it. And you can share from my experience of this made me feel like this. And what I will tell you that we will answer in this, and even if I'm not talking about one of us aggressive guys, I'm talking about as leaders, we should all be able to talk like this. There's Ricky. Ricky, did you get the truck, buddy? Because if you're home already, that was quick.
No, I'm not. I'm not home. Actually, I'm eating dinner. Yeah, I got the truck though.
Perfect. So what we're giving you permission, and you know, Ricky and I, we said this on a call earlier, but you have permission to share with us your feelings of how you feel about whatever situation, and we will basically listen to you. And thank you for sharing those thoughts, because we all have blind spots, and we all cannot work on those blind spots if we're not aware of them. So, and we're saying this especially because we've noticed this, that a lot of times the ladies aren't participating as much on this call, but y'all are absolutely phenomenal at running calls and all this, and we watch that, and then we'll get on a leader call or something, and then we get no feedback.
So, Chris, I'm going to chime in.
Go ahead.
Hey. So, I I think this is an amazing subject because I think it's something we all have to work on in this journey of working with people. And I wanted to share a few nuggets in this area. And it's funny because how we go through things in life and we get presented into situations that allow us to grow. I learned some of this through a family counselor. And, it's interesting how as humans, we all have our emotions. We all have these emotions and all these emotions are flavors. It's like different flavors. So like anger could be a flavor of steak and, sympathy can be a flavor of bananas. And, there's these just different flavors.
Robin,
They run through. And just as we eat different foods and we get different taste, well, the emotions give us different feelings. And often we are running and we're playing a role. When we're conversating with someone, we're conversating, but when someone says something, no one can ever make you feel anything. Your feelings are your own. You own your own feelings. The way that you react and respond is fully up to you. And someone can say something and people will say, well, she made me feel this way. Well, no one can make you do anything. It is just your interpretation of what they said and how you took it is depending on your past experiences in life and how you hold up to what it is they're saying. And it's how you choose to respond. So there's the reaction and then there's responding. And one of the number one things we all have to learn in this industry when we're working with people is absolutely how do we get to a place of responding? And there's actually books out there. Bob Berg has a great one. He has some great information, Bob Berg, about responding instead of reacting. But a reaction is from a child mindset. When we react like children, when they feel something and they cry or they get mad, they just react. They don't know how to respond. And responding takes spiritual awakeness. Responding takes you to be mindful. You have to be super mindful to respond. And a response instead of reaction is, hey, this person said something. I felt this way about it. Like when they said this is how I felt about it. Not, they didn't make me feel this way, but this is how I felt about it. So even when you're speaking to your partner and they say something and you feel a certain way, this would work a lot faster in communicating with your partner, your husband, wife, relationship, children. Instead of saying, you made me feel, which makes them defensive, you say, hey, when you said this is how I felt. When you did this is how I felt. I just want to share with you how I felt about it. And so you're not blaming them. You're not, directing it at them. You're just communicating that this person said this is how you felt about it. And then that person can maybe look at it from, oh, wow, wow, I didn't want her to feel like that. I didn't mean for her to feel like that. And it's easier for them to say sorry, or it's easier for them to go to that place of fixing rather than reacting, right? Because then when we say certain things, it makes the other person react. And then what happens is they go into it's called a drama triangle. You guys can Google this, drama triangle. And a drama triangle is when we go into the flavor of emotions. And so then we have the persecutor, we have the victim, and then we have the savior. So we go into a persecutor mode, a victim mode, or a savior mode. And these are roles we play. And I learned this from my, family counselor, life coach, mentor that I go to locally here. And it's interesting how our minds will play out these emotions. And it's really from a defense mechanism or a way to feel or taste all these flavors of emotions. And it's interesting how our bodies don't even recognize how we actually desire some of these emotions. People that are depressed, it's not a feeling that serves you well, but your body gets used to feeling depressed. So somehow your body will send signals to the mind to put you into a situation to feel depressed because it's comfortable. Your body feels comfortable being depressed. Dr. Dispenza, Joe Dispenza, educates on how the body and the mind are so separate, and the body tends to feel emotion that it gets used to. And that's comfortable. And us humans want to be comfortable. So our bodies will actually send signals to the mind to get us in a situation that's going to allow us to feel those feelings that are comfortable, even if it don't serve you well. So going back to the drama triangle, what if we all can be aware that we do this? And when you can play out situations, you'll find like, oh my gosh, I'm being a victim right now. Oh my gosh, I'm being a persecutor right now. Oh my gosh, I'm being a savior right now. Because when you're a savior in the when you're, you know, having a fight and then you're going to savior mode, you actually feel like you have wings on your back. It's a feeling of, oh, I've got wings on my back. It's the most amazing feeling to save somebody, right? And then, but these personalities or these emotions have these flavors where we really need to be. I don't know how we ended up my screen.
Tiffany, somehow you took over the screen. Tiffany, can you please stop sharing? I don't know how to do it without. So Tiffany, you took over the screen somehow, but we can still hear you, Robin.
Yeah, what
Okay.
you can do, Chris, is you can start sharing yours because you're the host, and it will stop.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
She's done.
So where we ideally want to be is we want to be in the middle, and in the middle is an adult mindset. It's not where the child mindset lives. It's where we respond. It's in the middle. Tastes like a salad, and the middle is a salad, and the salad maybe not be as flavorful, a basic salad, not a full-fledged salad, just like a basic salad. So a salad may not be flavorful, and it may not be as robust as all these other steaks and chicken and shrimp with butter all over it and all that those kind of flavors. But, and I'm not a seafood person, so that's for you seafood lovers, but the salad in the middle, if you can stay there long enough, it's the best for you. It's the best for you in the long run. And so it's the healthiest for you. It's kind of boring sometimes. And that in the middle is being super balanced with your emotion, being spiritually awakened and aware of these different roles that we're trying to go into. And then you can come from a place of responding. And it's an emotion that's it's kind of boring sometimes too, to be there. It's kind of boring because sometimes, even though we don't want to be mad, there's a feeling to mad that kind of sometimes feels good to throw something maybe. And even though it's not even good for us, but just feels good sometimes, you know? But again, if you can recognize that we all go into this triangle and be more aware that that's what we're doing. And if we can get into the center, we can have more peace. We can have more harmony. We can be more productive in the conversation. And also, just a quick hint, when we get mad, when we react and we get like mad at that person, like it's a protection mechanism for us not to feel pain. Because when we're getting mad, we're actually afraid. We're actually fearful. We're actually afraid because we're getting big and mad because we're trying to take our power back. So when we're mad, if you can think about this, for those of you who have tempers and you just get mad really quick, it's actually because you're feeling powerless. So when you feel powerless, you get fearful. And what do? You get mad so you can get big and powerful and take it back. So for those of us that have that challenge, you kind of feel silly every time you get mad now because you're like, oh my gosh, they all know right now I'm powerless. They all know right now I feel afraid. Not that you're badass or that you're better or meaner than anybody else, but now you can look at people that get super angry and laugh because you're like, they actually feel powerless right now. No, I'm just saying, you don't want to laugh on them. But anyway, it is amazing though when you can become aware of this, because you are going to be in so much more control over if somebody flips you off or cusses at you when you're on the road. I just laugh now. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're actually afraid. They're actually powerless right now. And that's why they're getting mad and they don't even bother me. So I think it's cool to learn and to grow our mindsets. And honestly, this has been the most amazing journey being in this industry. I've been exposed to so many incredible tools and just I don't know. The mind is fascinating. I find the mind super fascinating. So back to you guys. Back to you, Chris.
So why are we talking about this? And, you know, like, this is a leadership call. It's because as a leader, you're dealing with people. And people are crazy. Imagine that, right? So we're dealing with people, and when we recognize that we're all a little nuts and we're all a little crazy, what Robin's talking about it is an awareness, right? And, you know, if you want to be a massive leader over a massive team, then you have to have an awareness of patterns that people get into and the way that they act. And we're going to finish this part up, and we're going to go a little bit into like having an awareness of what makes things drive, what drives the model, and what doesn't. But what you had Robin talking about was, see, people start getting addicted to certain feelings. And like, you ever seen somebody that gets mad all the time and they like just blow up and they will find the craziest things to get mad about? It's because they've become addicted to the cortisol that's being released when they get mad. And then that becomes the normal. And we have a thing, it's called the psychocybernetic mechanism. What in the world is that? So the easy way to say it is the thermostat, right? So we all have a thermostat. In the thermostat, like on your house, when your air conditioning, it gets hot, the air conditioning clicks on because you set the thermostat, which is your comfort zone. So what happens is we have set a comfort zone based on our programming, based on our experiences, based on our past, however we've been brought up, right? So what happens is we will keep manifesting the same things over and over and over again. And when you can recognize where you have your thermostat set, then you can change it. Because the reality is if you don't recognize, and this is why we talk about the dream boards, this is why we talk about the affirmations and speaking things into existence. And if y'all remember last week when we closed out the team call, we were talking about the story that we tell ourselves. Guys, this is all part of our program. It's all part of our psychocybernetic thermostat, right? Simple. It's our thermostat where we have it set. And if you notice, you might even experience this yourself. How many of us have dated the same person multiple times, but they have a different name? And it's like you get into the same relationship, which wasn't, you're like, oh my God, I got another psycho, right? Or I go, oh my gosh, how in the hell do I get in these situations where I keep dating the same person? Well, one, that's a disempowering question. And then you'll get a disempowering answer, right? But if you change the question to an empowered question, then you'll come up with a different answer. But it's based on your program and where you have your thermostat set, right? Like, do you realize, in fact, Joe Dispenza said this as well, and he said, some people will hope that everything's going to get better and life is going to get, one day, everything's going to get better. How many of us, honestly, have told ourselves, one day everything's going to be better. One day I'm going to have more money. One day I'm going to be making this kind of money. One day this is what's going to happen. And what will happen is we will subconsciously sabotage ourselves over and over and over again, because if we get what it is that we say that we one day want, then we no longer have hope because we already got it. And we become addicted to the hope. We become addicted to the feeling that we get from one day it's all going to be better. One day it's going to whatever. So we'll have to keep creating that situation so where we can stay in that comfort zone, so where we can keep saying one day. But when you start changing the story, changing the message in your brain, what that allows you to do is to change the thermostat. So if anybody's watched The Secret, how many of us have seen The Secret? All right, so the movie The Secret, there's a guy in there John Assarath, who I've had the pleasure of being at multiple events that he's done. And I bought a whole course that he has called The Foundation, which it not only breaks down all of these things, but he teaches you how to reprogram the brain and how to reprogram what it is, which is your belief system. And guys, that's why I'm always talking about I'm laughing because Tony's like, thank God I found a different kind of man. Tony, did you date the same kind of person prior to over and over and over again, right? A lot of us do. So, and she said yes. So the thing is that what happens is when we start to change that program, then we can start to change, what our possibilities are. When we start to change the thermostat, we can change our outcome. It's like the person, how many of us have heard when somebody wins the lottery and then basically they're broke and whatever, it's because they had $1 million, they weren't a millionaire, and their thermostat was never changed. So the habits that they have are going to be the same, so they're going to manifest the same thing, and they will sabotage their life to bring themselves back right into their comfort zone. So guys, we're talking about this stuff because once you have an awareness of it, then you can change the thermostat. Then you can bring yourself to the next level as a leader. Then you can bring yourself to whatever your goals and your dreams that you've always imagined, you will be able to start to manifest, and you will not sabotage them. So in the first company I started in, we had Eric Worre was on the leadership team in that company. And I remember him saying it over and over and over again. For things to change, you need to change. For things to get better, you need to get better. And he said that your income will never surpass in fact, that's where I met Shelby. So I'm sure Shelby heard it over and over and over again. But your income will never surpass your personal development for long. So guys, we have a lot of people that are hitting the rank of platinum that don't necessarily know how they got there, other than the fact that they just took some action and some activities. And when you just are starting off in the leadership positions, it's called positional leadership. And we're calling you a leader, and you might have a team, but are you really a leader? Or did you get lucky? Did this happen? Did that happen? And I'm not saying that anybody here is lucky or whatever. We're extremely blessed to have all of you on the team. But at the same time, there's positional leadership. So you got learned leadership, positional leadership. Then you start to actually be the leader where you have a group of people following you, and it's not just positional, right? And then there's the leadership development where you actually start to create other leaders. It's another level of leadership. And then you have the level of leadership where you are leading leaders, right? And you're helping leaders lead. And then there's like you're the mentor, right? And then there becomes a time, the fifth level of leadership is when you are mentoring the mentors. And it's the highest level of leadership. John Maxwell talks about this. Chris Brady, Orrin Woodward, Launching the Leadership Revolution goes over this. And it really basically helps you, one, recognize where are you? Where are you in the leadership role? So guys, every single one of you all are in a leadership role. But it makes sense for you to start watching programs, YouTube on leadership, maybe go get a book on leadership. Start really figuring out what is that, because you can only make what you are in income. And I promise you, I've seen this happen. And if any of you all have been in this industry for a long time, you've also seen this happen.
It's in a bag.
Someone will shoot up. Somebody just unmuted themselves. Someone will shoot up in leadership. They have this big old check. And then guess what it does? And they go down. And guys, I've seen people jump from company to company to company. So when we were in that big run from 2010 to 2000, let's just call it 14, where it was still just going up and up and up. 13, we had a little bit of dip. I watched people jump ship right in the beginning of 14. And then I saw these people go from company to company to company. And they thought that because they did it once, that they can do it again, but they don't even know what they did. So this was the other thing that I said I was going to talk about tonight. Because guys, you're going to see people, and I'm promising you this, you're going to see people that are positional leaders in our company leave our company. You're going to see these people leave. And they might have a few people leave, but they're not going to have leaders leave. It's just the way that it's like the leaders are going to stay because, guys, when you hit a certain rank in a company, and many of you all, if you're in a six-figure range where you're making a five-figure monthly income, companies will try to pay you. They'll offer you teams, organizations, you name it, for you to come over there, and they build your head up until you did it before, you could do it, and you could be the, and I'm just going to use Ricky's name for an example because he's a Triple Crown. You could be the Ricky Durant. You can be the Brittany Beck. You can be the whatever the rank is. We'll just use it. The Robin Grigsby. The, this person. Guys, that's ego. And see, when I hired a coach, and I was thinking the other day, it's like maybe I should hire a coach again just to bring it to the next level. And you heard Robin, how deep that stuff was. I'm having these conversations with Robin on a daily basis. And I coach with Robin. And Robin coaches with me. And we are talking about how can we get better? What can we do to bring it to the next level? And how can we, so we're thinking about these things and looking at ourselves, self-evaluation, how can we become better? Because you can only make whatever you are, right? So I'm telling you guys this because when you understand the way the model works, and when I had a coach, he said, you have to know what drives a model and what creates it. And I just want to share with what we just went through with the SAM plan. And yes, we're moving into something that's going to be advanced and a lot better. But we saw that culture trumps everything. That culture in this family environment that we've created can basically still have people win in a big, big way, where we had people that were here already that were comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. That were comparing the old comp plan to the SAM plan, and it just stopped them in their tracks, and they quit doing what they were doing to get where they were. And that's why what Enrique shared was so powerful, because sometimes we stop doing what it is that got us to where we're going or where we are. And you have to reevaluate, reconnect to the feeling that you had when you got started, that emotion, that all of that stuff, so where you can go do what you did again to create that momentum again. So guys, I'm sharing this because what we have here is absolutely special. And I don't know if any of you all remember in the very beginning. I know Ian's on here and he remembers. Ian, are you out there, brother? I know that you're in Alaska or something. No, he was on here a second ago. So I don't know what his service, Ian's rate. Ian, are you available to just answer something real quick? He's out there, but apparently not, whatever. So Ian thought.
I'm here, brother. Sorry.
All right, can't hear a word you're saying.
Trying to figure out technology in Alaska.
There you go. All right, so I'm gonna just use you as an example. You don't have to be able to answer. But I remember when I was saying the numbers we were going to be able to do here, and he thought I was out of my mind. Do you remember that? Just say yes. All right, we can't hear anything Ian's saying.
Absolutely 100% thought you were stark way crazy.
Okay, there you go. I did hear that. So Ian had been working in a company for almost a 2-year period. And I don't know if we're going to be able to hear this, Ian, but what did your volume get up to over here so far?
1.6 million.
Did y'all hear that? $1.6 million. And I'm sharing this with you guys because when you have an awareness of what drives a model and what doesn't, and what are the components that are going to make something work, I promise you, you're going to have people that are going to leave our company because they think that they're going to go be that top dog in the new company, and they have no idea why everything worked here the way that it did, and you're going to watch them fall on their face. And they might go win for a very short amount of time because they'll seduce a bunch of people to come with them, and those people might move with them, and then that person, because they took a deal or whatever else happened, might be making a little bit of money for a little while, and then their team is losing horribly, and then their income goes away. And the next thing you know, you're watching social media, and they're going to the next shiny object, and the next shiny object. I remember talking to a leader that was saying, well, you know, it takes the same activity to do it in every company, and if this comp plan pays more for this activity, then I'm going to make way more money. And I remember when Ricky and I were talking about this, and I was saying, dude, we're going to hit $1 million, I believe, in less than 6 months. And he was going, how in the hell are we going to hit $1 million on a $40 product? And guys, we did it on our 4th month. Our 4th month, we did more volume than I had ever done in my 20-year career, at the time 18 and a half, 19-year career. We did more volume in our 3rd month than I had ever done in my career, which was 500,000. I was right under 500,000 in my career, my top month, and I had had a 6-figure income for many years and never did more than that volume. And I'm sharing that, guys, because what we're talking about is an awareness to what drives the model, and the way that we built our culture, the fact that we have affordable products that have high impact are some of the components that have created this. So I'm telling you guys this because this is a leadership call, and you have to understand that. And what's going to happen, and you know, Robin understands this to a T, like when we were talking about drivers in the comp plan, but our culture outperformed drivers in a comp plan. Our culture outperformed what would normally be certain comp plan components that would create certain behaviors. Our culture outperformed it, and it's really blown me away. That showed me that, you know, Mark and Judy showed me the #1 lesson I've ever learned in this business, and it's to create the environment that people are feeling love and connection, and just love on people and believe in them. And I thought that I had to go learn all these sales skills and all these closing skills and all these other things. The #1 skill you need to work on is your communication skills. So that's bringing back why we started this whole conversation tonight. It's about communication. And the better you get at communicating with people and recognizing their patterns, and you can answer this, put it in the comments or whatever, but the bottom line is that when you start to pay attention to patterns, you can start to predict what people are going to do. How many of us, when you really know somebody, you kind of know how they're going to respond to something, you know what they're going to do? It's because you understand their pattern. And when you start to pay attention to this, it's awareness, you can predict and also know how to coach people and how to work with them and how to get to the next level. But it's so important not to react, but to respond based on understanding the whatever. So with all that being said, I'm going to be quiet now. And we're going to, I don't know where Judy is, but she was actually supposed to run this call and talk about some things from a participation perspective. So how many of us enjoyed last week's team call? Everybody's silent.
Me, I enjoy it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So how many like the idea of different leaders hosting the call and then maybe showcasing some of their new people as well as some of their upcoming leaders?
Loved it.
Okay, so what
Cool.
now
Yes.
we're getting into like what I remembered what we're supposed to talk about. So guys, what we want to do is every week we want to have a different leader, preferably ladies, that are like kicking off the call, welcoming everybody, doing the things, you know, sharing, introducing the people that are going to give the updates for the certain countries. So with that being said, what we'd like to see happen, because Sean and Kim are the go-to people for New Zealand, what we'd like to do is either have them or one of their New Zealand people, like Karen or, you know, whoever's the front people for those markets to give the updates for those markets. We would like to have the Canadian leaders, i.e., you know, we have a bunch of them, but like Sarah and many of the other Canadians that we have that might give the Canadian updates. And then we want to have guys, the nuggets that all of the ladies shared this weekend or this Monday was amazing. Every single one of you all have some amazing skill sets. I've watched and been on these trainings, the getting started trainings and all that, and there's been some incredible stuff that has been shared. So what we've done is we want to have those kind of nuggets maybe being shared on the call, and then basically we'll always have like a mindset training as well, just to kind of tie it all in together. But it would be great if why don't we do this week or the next week coming, either Tony or Robin, do either one of you ladies want to kind of get a few of your team together that might be able to share some value, and y'all can pick which one of y'all. And then every week we can have different leaders that can do this. And I'm just picking you two because y'all are right in the center of my page. Do either one of you all want to handle this week's team call?
Robin, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay, and then I can do the next week. I'm just headed to Mexico right now, so I don't know that I'll be in good range.
Wait, what? I thought you just left Mexico.
Yeah, but we're going to visit family now.
Oh my
She wants
God.
to learn Spanish now. Woo.
So her husband's Spanish. I don't know if you know that.
I know, of course. Last name, Garcia.
But the Garcia gives it away, I think.
Yeah, I would think so. So awesome. So we want to do that. So we also want to have a format, and we're going to end this call. We don't have to go unless anybody wants to. We'll open it up and y'all give your feedback and share and whatever. Hey, let us know if you got value on tonight's call. Do you want more of this kind of content? Do you want, you know, because we don't want you to get on these calls and just be like, that was a total waste of time. And I just wasted an hour of my life. And like, now I don't want to be on these calls, right? But we did a lot of the updates on Monday night. So there's not a lot of updates to talk about right now. But we wanted to, one, do you like this format? Do you want to have different leaders sharing this every week? And then we'll pick the people and then we'll go from there. So right now we have Tony and Robin. Maybe next week we'll go and get the next week's person that's going to host it. And we'll try to keep the format somewhat the same. And then we all have permission, like we started it off as, to give feedback. So with that being said, feedback, please.
Well, my feedback is this is the kind of training we need for, or the kind of calls that we need for Wednesdays. Because we are leaders, we need different type of meals to eat, you know, and it was an amazing call. Love it. Loved the environment, the relationship. Robin, like always, she was amazing, fantastic. Chris was fired up. But this is the kind of topic that we need for Wednesdays. We need more intense calls in leadership building, culture building, relationship building, because that's what is missing sometimes. Is that type of format, and love it, love it. The reality is was on point. I just want to share with you guys that I love everybody here. You know, the culture that we have here is amazing. I am one of those guys that didn't that they stick just because of the culture. I could be gone in the company that I was already gone because the comp plan over there and everything was already set up there. I don't care about that. I care about the culture that we make here. So that's why I always gonna be. It doesn't matter how sometimes I can feel. Last week I feel like already Robin said, you know, powerless a little bit. But then I remember that relationship is a triangle. It's a triangle. Relationship is a triangle. Religion. I have a relationship with God. And that triangle of having that relationship with God first, that's the one pointing upstairs, helped me have a relationship with my peers, that this one. And every time that something happened to me that is going to get me like, I think about what Jesus will do. So what God will do in that situation. And God always going to comfort me because my flesh wants to kill somebody, but my spirit still love it. Still love that person. The spirit always going to love that person no matter how I feel in my flesh. And that's why I always going to slow down because I feel the love. I feel that always forgiveness. The good book says that it's forgiven a lot, will love a lot. That's what the good book says. And also we need to humble ourselves because Proverbs 16, verse 18 says that pride is the beginning of the end for every man. And that's why we're always going to humble. And I'm always going to come down to just this, the culture. That's why we haven't left. Nobody, with all the drama that happened, will never leave this family. It's because of the culture, family, and love everybody. That's it.
Yep. Hey, Nancy Willett asked the question, would love specifics on keeping team engaged and one-on-one coaching with my teammates, recommended or not. I want to have someone else answer that. And I'd like it maybe either Nancy or Melissa. Would you guys want to, Melissa Lucas or Nancy?
I'm here. I'll give my 2 cents, and then if Nancy wants to share, that would be awesome too. So what's worked well for me is just like digging in, figuring out what they really want out of this experience, and then checking in. Something that Enrique has taught me is trying to be really consistent with checking in, even if it's just a, hey, how are you? That seems to work really well, and it gets them sharing what's really going on. And so that's been really helpful. And then another thing that's been helpful is just digging in and figuring out like, okay, what's working for them, what's not working for them, and then digging in to help them overcome some of their hurdles. And that has helped me to get more engagement out of people. Does that help at all?
I would say
that's awesome. Thank you, Melissa. And I know, because I've heard from others, that you're really good at taking a look at someone's business and how they're getting their customers and kind of analyzing it and giving them suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
And
thank you.
I would love to learn how to do that from you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? A big part of it too is, and I'll share this just so everyone can hear it, a lot of it's asking questions. I've learned this from Chris too. He's like our therapist. Asking a lot of questions like, okay, what would you like out of this? Okay, how are you feeling about this? But we'll go over some of that more in depth, Nancy, but it is a lot of question asking and then helping them come up with solutions.
Okay, because I do check in with each of my direct line at least once a week, but I don't know that I feel like I'm missing something.
I would be digging down in depth and not just with your front lines. You know, one of the things that Ricky has always done is he's always looking at where he sees activity, and then he starts to get to know those people as well. And he's watching. And guys, I had a great conversation with someone in corporate today about an app that I think we're going to be implementing. And it's going to be really impressive on, and it's going to help us to, one, be able to track our business on a whole nother level. And imagine getting a message that's saying, boom, Kyrie is, $5,000 away from this rank, and letting you know, like, and we're talking big ranks when we're talking about that kind of number, but, Mary's $100 away, $200 away from, it won't be super affiliate, but we'll say bronze. And this person this much away from bronze. This person is whatever. And we'll have tracking like you've never seen before. So guys, what we have coming is going to blow you away. Really, really excited about that stuff. Nancy, did you want to go give some feedback on that real quick?
Hey, yeah, I mean, everything that Melissa said, I agree with. Obviously, we work closely together. One of the things is that you guys taught us is a lot of this starts happening on the welcome call, where you dig into their short-term goals, long-term goals, how it feels, connecting to the emotion of why they're doing it. So, and the other part of that is when, for example, when Melissa was saying, ask questions, the most important part for us is really listening to where that person's at and what they need, rather than trying to tell them what to do, if that makes sense. So that's the one big tip I have for creating that relationship with the people you're working with is, sometimes you might think what it is that they want, but you haven't listened very well to what it is that they're asking for. So I'd say, as is in all these kinds of businesses, become a much, much better listener. And those relationships will get better and better.
And I just asked these two to share. And then we have so many incredible ladies that are incredible at doing what we're talking about. But I actually heard some of these questions being answered prior to by them. And I know Robin is incredible at that. And we have so many other people. It seems like all the ladies in Robin's group are all doing the same thing. And if you notice, Nancy and Melissa are saying the same thing. So it's like organizations are duplicating. And if you see that you're missing something or there's a blind spot, as a community together, this is a great place that we can talk about this stuff so where we can bring things to the next level. With that being said, I hope people got value out of tonight from a leadership perspective. We're approaching 1 hour, a minute from now. So unless someone else has any value they want to share or a question they want to ask, we can commence. Judy did message me and say, oh my God, I've been moving furniture. They rented a place almost 2.5 months ago, and they're still not moved in because they've been so busy traveling with the team and doing all the things that they're doing. So I think we can forgive Judy tonight for missing this call, and we'll hope that she can jump on board next week and run our team call for us. So with that, if anybody else has anything they want to say or in closing, if not, we'll close out the call. All right, everyone. Take care.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. Thank you.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.